Flume was in the title, but it's not called Lydia anymore, actually. It was called that. It's not called that anymore for a very good reason. I'll tell you why. Because Lydia has already, as any Dean Friedman fan will tell you know who you are, will tell you that title's already been used. I found out the hard way when I was just about to do this number in London after I'd just written it, and then the following message came from the side of the stage. Johnny, change the title. Why? He's in the audience. Who? The ragamuffin Romeo himself. Here, what the? Yes. And he's a very successful, very litigious person and very successful. He can afford a better lawyer than what you can. So if you don't want to live out the rest of your life in utter penury, change the title immediately. So thinking on my feet, I come up with this new title. It's a much better title. Now it's called Lydia, Girl with an Itch. A much better title, proving once again that necessity is the mother of invention, and not Frank Zappa, as some of you had previously assumed. Here it is, Lydia, Girl with an Itch. Lydia, get rid of your chlamydia, only an idiot would ever consider you. That's it with the adverts. We'll be back after these messages. And now back to when animals attack magicians. Pick a card, any. Ah! Don't let me see it. Ah! Here's a limerick I wrote in Ireland last year. Last year I was in Limerick, and of course everybody knows Limerick. Anybody who's interested in poetry or knows about Terry Wogan. Know that is the birthplace of the great man. It's also the knife crime capital of the Republic of Ireland, actually. I was phoning up, you come to these places, you like to sort of ingratiate yourself with the natives, you find out some local shit. Come on with it, and it sort of endears you to them. It's, you know, keep it for the wet foots, Jack, but you know it works. What can I tell you? I've always relied on the comfort of strangers. So that's interesting. So I'm talking to the guy back saying, you know, Limerick, where they invented the limerick, very important place in the world of poetry also. I said, am I right in assuming it's the birthplace of Terry Wogan? He says, yeah, not only that, it's the knife crime capital of the South. He didn't say whether these two phenomena were at all related. I'm not suggesting for a moment that the fact that it's the birthplace of Terry Wogan has led to a spate of knife crime. Speaking of which, how many people do you have to kill before it qualifies as a spree? So there we were, knife crime capital, eh? So I thought, right, thanks for that bit of information. So I come out there, I thought, right, I worked it up. I wrote, hey Limerick, Stab City, that's what they call it, Stab City. Hey Limerick, Stab City, how about that? The only town I know where if you drop the name Bowie into a conversation, they assume you mean Jim. You see, there as here, it went right over there. And I thought, note to self, people are not enjoying weaponry-related humour to the same extent that they used to do. Wind it up. But then 2 weeks after that, funnily enough, I did a show in Winchester. And that reminded me, I thought, weaponry-related humour, remember limerick, shall I do it or not? You know, shall I put it to bed? I thought, no, I'll give it one last chance. So I come out, hey Winchester, I've been rifling through town all day. But again, they didn't get it in Winchester. They weren't as receptive as you are now with the luxury of distance. I guess they're trying to live it down. The gun that won the West. Which you know only went out of business 2 years ago. Winchester 76, eh? The gun that won the West, and you know. So I made a note of it, then I thought, put it to bed. People are not enjoying weaponry-related humour to the same extent that they used to do. Anyway, there I was in Limerick, and I remembered that the last time I'd been there, which was 25 years previously, and back then, condoms were very difficult to obtain in the Republic of Ireland. In fact, they used to smuggle them in bags of heroin. You couldn't get them. So the pressure was on each Johnny. You're the king of modern poetry, they said. How great would this be? Limerick, the capital city of poetry all over the world. Anybody anywhere, from Switzerland to Swaziland, everybody knows a limerick. It's the most popular form of poetry there is, and I couldn't disagree with it. I said, you're right. I said, how good. They said, you're the king of modern poetry. Let's have a limerick about Limerick. I thought, that's never been done. And now I know why it was never done, because you can't do it. All right, I said, here's how it went. I said, give us a pen. I once knew a fella from Limerick. I thought, hang on, try to tell the truth. I've got a confession to make. Just because something rhymes doesn't mean it's true. Nobody's more upset about that than I am, but let's have closure and move on. I held myself out. I thought, at least try to tell the truth in the first line. I once knew a fella from Limerick. You didn't once know a fella from Limerick. You don't know any fellas from Limerick even now. So cut that out. Try to tell the truth in the first line, at least. All right, I'll do a rewrite. There once was a fella from Limerick. You can't argue with that. But where'd you go from there? You can't progress beyond the first line because nothing rhymes with Limerick. Don't go racking your brains. I've looked into it. I'm a professional, so you don't have to. The nearest I've got is turmeric. And you try working that ubiquitous Asian yellow spice into a viable rhyme scheme. I got £1 for a bucket of shit, said you can't do it. It's like the Irish, you can't go on past the first line. It's a joke the Irish are playing on the rest of us. It's like the Irish knock joke, you know that. You start. Knock. Who's there? You see where I'm going with this, it can't progress beyond the first line. So in revenge, many years later, I wrote this limerick that doesn't rhyme, and it isn't even about Limerick. Double revenge, because my memory's long and my vengeance is total, and that's why they call me Johnny Clarke El Vengador. I wrote this limerick. It doesn't rhyme, it ain't even about Limerick. You want to hear it? Of course you do. I've talked to you up so much, but I told you up front it wasn't going to rhyme, so I don't want any snotty letters after the event on the lines of, you know, dear sir, imagine my disappointment. It was with a note of mild regret that I sat down to enjoy a poetry reading by the late John Clarke, only to discover that his so-called limerick failed to rhyme. Suicidal Reading. Don't try to do me under the Trade Descriptions Act either. Believe me, it's not that simple. I've been in litigation with Time Warner Video for the last 27 years on account of that never-ending story. You don't want a lawyer that's... Yeah, I blame my lawyer for the lack of success, and that's why I'm saying you don't want a lawyer that starts every conversation with, well, I'm no legal expert. Incidentally, if there are any lawyers out there this evening, highly unlikely given the chosen demographic, it's a long shot and it just might work. I'll level with you. A friend of mine was recently sent to prison for something he didn't do. He didn't run when the police came to him. So now I need the answer to this legal question by the end of the night. And my question is this. If you shot a peasant, could you get off with on the grounds of dyslexia? technicality. Here's the limerick anyway, as advertised, doesn't rhyme like this. The one was a fella from Leeds, thought he'd been stung by a wasp. When asked did it hurt, he said no, it can do it again if it wants. I was asked by a mate of mine, a friend of mine was, how did that go? Who put that there? Oh yeah, my daughter came home from sixth form college a couple of years ago looking very down in the mouth. Down in the mouth. In fact, she had a face like a yard of tripe. I said, this could only mean one thing, she's got homework. I said, have you got some written homework? And she says, yeah. She said, it's the 50th anniversary of Amnesty International and we have to commemorate the occasion with a poem. So I says, oh, right. So right away I come up, what like this? They wake us up at ungodly hours and make us have freezing showers without any soap that smells like flowers. It's rotten here in jail. I says, what like that? She says, yeah, you know, something like that kind of thing. That kind of thing, yeah. So I couldn't help carrying on with it then. That's what I do for a living, you know what I mean? I thought, I'm jailhouse. Am I entitled to write another jailhouse number? It was, I tell you, it was 36 years to the day that I released a number called 36 Hours, which was about my experiences in a jailhouse for 36 hours. And them were the days when you got knocked about a bit, you know, it wasn't like it is today, you know. Oh, yeah. Do you want a clean works for that? Wasn't like that then. But then I thought, am I entitled to bring out two jailhouse numbers? Well, actually, you know. Then I thought, Johnny, of course you are. I said, it was 36 years ago. And anyway, Johnny Cash, every album he brought out, he had at least 3 jailhouse numbers on it. I'm not being funny. But he was in and out of there with a caution. In fact, if anything, I've missed my chance now. But if anything, I would have been entitled to have gone up to Johnny and says, get over it, mate. Some of us have done serious bird. So I got to work on this new jailhouse number. It's a real epic. And but the trouble was, I had a problem right from the start. As soon as I got 3 verses in, at first it sounded like it was rotten being in jail. Followed that is the chorus, rotten here in jail. So it sounded rotten. But then the 3rd verse, it started to sound like it wasn't that bad. And then by the 5th verse, it sounded like there was a party going on. 24/7. Then it was back to being rotten again. And I thought, well, they're all good verses. I don't want to sacrifice any of them. I'll write 2 separate poems, so I don't look inconsistent. I'll have to write 2 separate poems, one about how good it is and one about, you know, and then I thought, but no, somebody's going to read one of them first. Then they'll read the other one and go, fucking hell, I've just read one where they said it was fucking wrong. He wants to make his fucking mind up. You know what, I'm not going to read his shit anymore. He's puddled. So I don't want that to happen, obviously. I don't want that to be the effect. So I thought, how to leave them in the same poem without looking inconsistent. So I got round it. I called it Bipolar Inmate Diary. Got to think it. If you think outside the box. I never felt more like slinging my shoes at the screws with that headline news. Listen while I'm telling yous, it's rotten here in jail. You will find us in attendance, a rude gang of bad defendants, drugged up TV dependents, no rehab, no repentance, heaven and hell in a same sentence, rotten here in jail. Wide awake at the daylight hour with a cloud of powder and a perishing shower, soak the scent of a septic flower, rotten here in jail. Barely lawful, fucking awful, awful bad in jail. Banged up in a stinking cage with 5 guys all twice my age, whose list of misdemeanors range from road rage to date rage. It long ago went past the stage of rotten here in jail, rotten here in jail. The communal telly's gone, everybody knows one of us has got it but won't say which one, and he's too scared to turn it on. I'm getting grief from a terrorist who thinks I'm a moral derelict. He's an armchair psychotherapist, nobody likes a clever dick. Rotten here in jail, rotten here in jail. It helps to pass the bird line, sitting around to write this rhyme. I'm glad I done that fucking crime. Rotten here in jail, rotten here in jail. We got a shop, I bought a bong, since then I've been on the mong. The customer who's always wrong, rotten here in jail. With a bottle of binge and a bag of weed, I feel I'm part of a pampered breed. Parole, that's all I need, rotten here in jail. Choice Iranian on my foil, it runs like virgin olive oil. It makes your fucking blood recoil, and living the life of a decadent royal. It could spoil, it could spoil, it could spoil you. Rotten here in jail, rotten here in jail. Bad news in the mail, but I sleep like a log, I'm a pure dog. Rotten here in jail, alone at last, nirvana, oh yeah, King Banana, just me and Mrs. Palmer, at it like a melon farmer. Rotten here in jail, they got me shipped in shale, bent double with a short shovel. Rotten here in jail, run you ragged, rob you blind, do the time, I won't mind, take it easy, unwind in a win-win situation, kinda rotten here in jail. If it comes on top, well I can't fuck off, it's rotten here in jail. Shuffling around in shite shoes, supplied with drugs and booze, every substance a guy could abuse. You must have seen it on the 10 o'clock news. Rotten here in jail, rotten here in jail. It's an open prison since the roof went missing. It's rotten here in jail. Me, I've never been so free. Trouble is, neither has he, and him and that he or she. Rotten here in jail. Keep your head down till you bed down. Rotten here in jail. He was clean, but now dagnabbit, he's got himself a brand new habit. He sucks your dick, he's the faggot. Rotten here in jail, rotten here in jail. The library's bound to fail since the sudden departure of Jeffrey Archer. It's rotten here in jail. Is the food awful? Is it F? Is the food awful? Are you deaf? Is the food awful? Is it F? It's cut from fresh till there's nothing left by a tax-dodging celebrity chef. Rotten here in jail. You'd have to forage to find any porridge. It's rotten here in jail. A nice bit of steak and the odd potato, clean socks on a radiator. Can't complain, but check me later. Rotten here in jail. When somebody dies, it's a nice surprise. Rotten here in jail. Path, toot, one day when I ain't so cute, I'll be kicking your ass with a solid gold boot. It's rotten here in jail. Election night, get my coat, vote for Raoul Moat. A punch up the throat, that's all she wrote. Rotten here, jail.